Okay, let's continue our discussion naman, no? Paternity and filiation naman tayo. So, sa paternity muna, no? Ang pinaka-important po na provision dito, no? Huwag niyo kakalimutan yung Article 164 na yan, no? Kasi yan po ang magiging basis ng karamihan ng mga magiging sagot natin. Example, no? Meron akong tanong before. Si A, kasal siya kay B. So, husband si A, si B yung wife. Later on, si B, nanganak. Yung anak, sabihin natin, black person, no? So, para siyang African. Yung kapitbahay nila, African. Tanong, what's the status of the child na pinanganak ni B? Legitimate o illegitimate? No? Ang sagot po dyan, legitimate child po yun. Okay? Because Article 164 po, the child was born during the marriage of A and B. So it's, he or she is legitimate. He or she is a legitimate child. Okay? It's up to the father, KA, na mag-file po ng petition para ma-impugn yung legitimacy ng bata. But if A will not file a petition, the child will remain as legitimate. And only A can file that petition. Only he can file that. No? B cannot file that. No? The neighbor cannot file that. No? Kahit na magkamukha talaga yung neighbor at saka yung bata. Okay? Doesn't matter. Only A can file that. So, ang presumption po, legitimate yung bata. Okay? It's up to the father to impugn this. Eh, hindi ko talaga anak yan. Eh, bakit kamukha yung kapitbahay namin? Baka anak yun ng kapitbahay namin. Eh, di saka siya mag-file. Magpa-DNA testing tayo. O hindi talaga sila magkamag-anak, no? Yung percentage, wala talaga. Now, hindi na siya legitimate child. Magiging na siyang illegitimate child by someone else, but not him. Okay? So, ganun. So, simulan natin, no, yung topic. Pag naman conceived and born, no, outside of a valid marriage, illegitimate child. Okay. So, the status of the child if the marriage of the parents is valid. Basic, no? A and B got married, B got pregnant, A died, later, B gave birth to the child. Legitimate siya. Kasi that child was conceived during the marriage of his parents. Okay? Kasi nung naging pregnant si B, kasal pa si A at saka si B. It's just that namatay si A bago maipanganak yung bata. So legitimate yung bata. No? Mr. A impregnated Miss B. 9 months later, they got married. After 1 week, Miss B gave birth to a child. So in this case po, nagkabuntisan sila, magjowa. Okay? Kabuntisan. O syempre, magpapakasal. O nung nagpakasal sila, malaki na yung tiyan. After 1 week, pagkatapos ikasal, ayun na, pinanganak yung bata. Legitimate o illegitimate? Legitimate po. Why? Because the child was born during the marriage of his parents. Hindi siya conceived and born or lang siya. Yung una nating example, conceived lang. Yung pangalawa nating example, second nating example, born. Okay? So conceived, pangalawa born. Pag conceived and born during the marriage, walang problema yan kasi yun yung normal na normal na nangyayari sa pamilya. Magpapakasal muna, tapos magbubuntis, manganganak. Eh, di legitimate talaga yung bata. 'Di ba? Last example natin. Mr. A impregnated Miss B. 9 months later, Miss B gave birth to a child. They never married. So, ano yung child? Illegitimate. Okay? O ngayon, what if Mr. A and Miss B will be married in the future? Yung pala yung fourth question dito. That child will be legitimated. So, apat pala yung questions dito. Sabihin natin, nabuntis, pinanganak yung bata, hindi nagpakasal si A at saka si B. So, parang nagkaroon lang sila ng live-in relationship, no? Common law spouses lang sila. And then after some years, no? Nagpakasal na sila, legitimated na yung bata. Okay, so doon tayo sa provisions on legitimation. Okay, ang itatakel for that, no, later. So ayan, child was conceived during the marriage of the parents, legitimate. Child was conceived, child was born during the marriage of the parents, legitimate kasi nga or. Child was conceived and born during the marriage of the parents, legitimate. This is the best. 'Di ba? Kasi yan ang normal talaga na ano eh, 'di ba, na process of child making, 'di ba? Okay. Child was conceived and born without the parents being married, illegitimate. Kasi dito po tayo pupunta sa 165. No? Child was conceived and born without the parents being married, but they got married in the future, legitimated. Okay, ito yung tinatakil ko. Mr. A and Miss B are married. They are Filipinos. Miss B gave birth to a son who looks Caucasian. The child is legitimate. No? Tandaan nyo, the physical features, the skin color, the supposed infidelity of the wife are immaterial unless the father will file a petition to impugn the legitimacy of the child. Without this petition, legitimate po ang bata. O ngayon, attorney, paano naman pag hindi po valid yung marriage? Paano pag void? Paano pag voidable? Paano pag valid but terminated? Daw ko nito. Is valid but was terminated. O, doon muna tayo sa madali, sa voidable. Nakalagay po yan. Wait lang. Kahit na din natin intindihin yung article eh. Huwag na natin alalahanan yung article. I think article, ano ba yun? 54? Huwag na yun. Ano ba ang nature ng voidable marriages? Di ba valid until it is annulled? O, edi valid marriage yan. O, nagkaroon ng bata, conceived or born during that voidable marriage. Edi yung bata legitimate. Di ba? Conceived or born during that marriage. Kasi nga valid yung kasal. It's just that pwede siyang i-annul. Subject to ratification. Tama naman ako, no? Yun nga. Article 54, no? Children conceived or born before the judgment of annulment under Article 45 has become final and executory shall be considered legitimate. Di ba? So, ayan. Legitimate po yung bata. Paano naman yung valid but terminated? Pupunta tayo sa Article 43. Ano po yan ulit? Yung Article 43, di ba ito yung well-founded belief? Tapos nag-initiate ng proceedings, no? Summary proceedings, sabi presumptive judicial declaration of presumptive death yung absent spouse. Meron talagang well-founded belief. Later on, may subsequent reappearance yung absent spouse, nag-file ng affidavit of reappearance. Ano mangyayari do sa second marriage? Magiging terminated siya. It was a valid marriage but it was terminated. Hindi siya void. Di ba? As I said, hindi siya void. Kasi pag void yan, automatic yung anak niyan, illegitimate. Kasi bigamous. Di ba? Pero terminated lang. So, legitimate po yung bata. O lastly, ito ay pinakamahirap. Sa void marriages tayo. Tandaan niyo po sa void marriages, ang general rule po, illegitimate yung bata. Kasi pag sinabi mong void marriage, pag sinabi mong void ab initio, it's void from the very beginning. As if it did not exist. O di wala pala. Di saan papasok dyan? Dito sa pangalawa, di ba? The child will be considered conceived and born outside the valid marriage. Valid eh, di ba? Valid, no? So, void marriage, illegitimate yan. Meron po tayong dalawang exceptions. Article 36 at saka Article 53. Saan po natin nakuha yung dalawa na yun ulit? Sa Article 54. Okay, so pag na-declared void ang isang marriage due to psychological incapacity, legitimate yung bata. Pag nag-declare siya as void, yung subsequent marriage because of non-compliance sa Article 53, ito yung i-rehistro mo dapat yung judgment of annulment o nullity nung first marriage mo bago ka magpakasal ng pangalawa. Pag hindi mo nirehistro yung una mo, yung judgment of nullity o judgment of annulment of marriage of the first marriage, nagpakasal ka agad, yung pangalawang marriage void din. Not because bigamous, but because you did not follow the family code. So punishment nyo yan. Yung pangalawa nyo marriage void din. Despite it being void, the children are considered legitimate nung subsequent marriage. Okay? Yan po. So pag bigamous, it goes without saying na yung anak do sa second marriage o ano yun, illegitimate children, no? Kasi bigamous nga, kasi void marriage yan. No? So tandaan natin, ulitin natin, lahat ng instances ng void marriage, yun na produce na anak from that union, illegitimate, except for psychological incapacity and violation of Article 53 of the Family Code. Let's go to the next topic. Ito yun, marriages that were valid but were terminated due to the reappearance of the absentee spouse. So nabanggit ko na to, no? Kailangan may well-founded belief. Pag walang well-founded belief, 'di ba? Hindi nga po terminated ang status nung subsequent marriage. Pag walang well-founded belief, ang status niyan void for being bigamous. Kasi nagsinungaling ka, sabi mo may well-founded belief ka na patay na yung unang asawa, hindi naman talaga. So magiging void siya on the ground of being bigamous. O di yung anak din niya, illegitimate. Ayan. Ibasa na lang po. Pero yun yung sinabi ko, in essence. No? Now, artificial insemination tayo. Ito po sa artificial insemination na tayo sa may requisites. No? Dapat the child must be conceived as a result of the artificial insemination of the wife. No? Hindi po sexual intercourse sa artificial insemination. With the sperm of the husband, the donor, or both. And the husband and the wife authorized it in a written instrument executed and signed before the birth of the child, and the instrument shall be recorded, yung pong authority, no? Shall be recorded in the civil registry together with the birth certificate of the child, no? So, tandaan niyo po kailan dapat i-execute yung written instrument bago ipanganak yung bata. So, tanong, attorney, paano pag naon ni artificial insemination? Nagpa-artificial, hindi sexual intercourse, ha? Nagpa-artificial insemination yung wife sa ibang lalaki, sa sperm donor, no? Tapos, nung 5 buwan o nung 5 buwan ng buntis yung babae, at saka po nag-execute ng written instrument yung lalaki authorizing the artificial insemination. Pinanganak yung bata later on. What's the status of the child? Legitimate po. Kasi nakalagay po dito sa third requisite before the birth of the child. Hindi sinabing before the conception. Okay? So hangga't di pinapanganak yan, kahit na 9 months na, saka lang nakuha yung written instrument. O, ang sagot po dyan, legitimate yung bata. Okay. Okay na, attorney. Next question. Paano kung yung bata, yung nanay, no, yung nanay nag-artificial insemination, hindi niya pinaalam sa tatay talaga. Ayan. So, nag-artificial insemination, hindi talaga nakakuha ng written instrument na kahit ano dun sa tatay. What's the status of the child? Pinanganak yung bata, mag-asawa sila, no? Mag-asawa si A at saka si B, nag-artificial insemination si B, hindi niya pinaalam sa asawa niya. What's the status of the child? Legitimate pa din po. Okay? Magkaaroon lang po ng ground si A para i-impugn yung legitimacy ng bata. But then again, uulitin natin, children conceived or born during the marriage of the parents, legitimate. Babalik na naman tayo doon. So kahit nag-glaring po na wala yung isang requisite, legitimate pa din yung bata. Uulitin ko, it will just give the father a ground to impugn the legitimacy of the child kasi nga hindi po na-comply properly yung requirements for artificial insemination. But that's just a ground. If that ground was not raised, if that petition was not filed, the child will be considered legitimate child nung husband. So the same is true po, sabihin natin, OFW yung tatay, 5 taon na sa ibang bansa, 5 taon na sa ibang bansa, hindi umuwi ng Pilipinas, yung asawa niya biglang nagkaroon ng anak dito sa Philippines. So alam naman natin hindi anak ng tatay yan, di ba? Kasi hindi nga umuwi dito, para naman nag-sexual intercourse yan. Yung babae, hindi rin pumupunta ng ibang bansa. So talagang long distance sila. Nagkaroon ng anak yung babae, yung si wife, ng anak. What's the status of the child? Legitimate pa din. Kasi that child was conceived or born during the marriage of A and B. So legitimate siya. Ulitin natin, nagkaroon lang ulit ng ground si A para i-impugn yung legitimacy ng bata. What's that ground? Physical impossibility. Di ba? So, coupled with, for sure, magpapa-DNA result din yan, no? Para mas matindi yung evidence, no? Para mas strong, no? Matinding weight ng evidence of the petitioner, the father in this case, para hindi niya maging ah, hindi considered legitimate yung bata. Something like that. Pero ulitin natin, ground lang po ito. Sana na ano niyo po, ano, nagiget nyo. And I hope, kung di nyo man po alam to before, sana nakita nyo na ngayon. No? Ganun po ang appreciation ng paternity na yan. Okay? Ayan, malay ko na rito. Miss B did this without the written signature of Mr. A. Is the child legitimate? Yes. It does not matter if the sperm came from another man. The child is still a legitimate child unless Mr. A will file an action to impugn the legitimacy of the child. What if the child looks exactly like the donor? Still legitimate child. What if the spouses are Filipinos but the child looks Caucasian? The child is still legitimate. He is still or she is still legitimate. So ngayon, with that being said, who may impugn the legitimacy of the child? So general rule, only the husband can impugn the legitimacy of the child. The mother cannot impugn it. What is our basis? Article 167. The child shall be considered legitimate, although the mother may have declared against its legitimacy. Paano pong idinideklara ng nanay yung against the legitimacy of the child? Sasabihin niya, iba po ang tatay niyan. O yun yun. Dineclare niya against the legitimacy of the child. Ang tatay po niyan yung boyfriend ko, hindi asawa ko. That's a declaration against the legitimacy of the child. Despite that declaration, the child is still a legitimate child of the husband or may have been sentenced as an adulteress. No? The boyfriend of the mother claiming to be the real father cannot impugn it. It does not matter if the child looks exactly like him. He cannot file an action to impugn the legitimacy of the child. Bakit po ganyan ang reasoning? Bakit po limited lang yung filing ng petition o filing ng action dun sa husband? Because he is the one who will be humiliated by the filing of the petition. So only he should decide whether he will file the petition or not. Okay? Kasi mapapahiya eh. Di ba? Kasi isipin mo, that child bears your surname, yet hindi mo pala anak. That's embarrassing. Di ba? Baka junior mo pa. Di ba? The second mo. Tapos hindi pala sa'yo. That's humiliating. Di ba? So only the father can file that action to impugn the legitimacy of the child. So as exception, the heirs of the husband can impugn the legitimacy of the child. Sino po ba yung mga heir? They included dyan yung mother. Included dyan yung ibang mga anak. Okay? The heirs of the husband can impugn the legitimacy of the child as provided under Article 171. Pero tatandaan niyo po, etong Article 171 na to, meron pong ano yan, merong prescriptive period na tinatawag. Meron pong prescriptive period. Sige. Was I able to malay ko ba rito yung period? Okay, hindi ko na ilagay. Ito, nailagay ko. 170 and 171. So, bago tayo bumalik dito sa 17 dito sa exception na to, bago tayo pumunta sa period, basahin muna natin yung instances where the heirs can file the action to impugn the legitimacy of the child. So, unang-una, if the husband should die before the expiration of the period fixed for bringing his action. Next, if he should die after the filing of the complaint without having desisted therefrom or if the child was born after the death of the husband. So dito po tayo sa pangalawa. Na-file na yung complaint eh. So pag na-file na po yung complaint, within the prescriptive period, tutuloy yung kaso. Kasi hindi po nag-prescribe yung action. If the child, right of action. If the child was born after the death of the husband, edi malamang hindi pa tatakbo yung prescriptive period kasi pinanganak after mamatay. Di ba? Mamaya malalaman natin kung ano yung prescriptive period. If the husband should die before the expiration of the period fixed for bringing his action, ito yung una. So ano po ba yung period fixed for bringing this action? Patay dito. Ayan. The action to impugn the legitimacy but brought lang, must be brought within 1 year from the knowledge of the birth of it or its recording if the husband is residing in the place where the birth took place. So akala niya loyal yung asawa niya, hindi pala, sabihin natin. O di 1 year yan kasi pareho lang sila ng residence. Di ba? Yung residence, kung probably kung sa pinanganak yung bata or sa ni-record yung civil register, dun din sa sila nakatira, mag-asawa. O within 2 years from the knowledge of the birth or its recording. If the husband or the heirs no, do not reside at the place of birth or where it was recorded but they reside in the Philippines. So ibig mo sabihin, ano context nito? Sabihin natin, taga-probinsya yung pamilya tapos yung husband nagtrabaho sa Maynila kasi baka mas maganda opportunities doon. Oh, 2 years. Okay? within 3 years from knowledge of the birth or its recording if residing abroad. So ano po context? OFW. So 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Okay. Okay. So tandaan niyo po, even yung tatay, no? Di ba sabi ko, only the father can impugn the legitimacy of the child. Okay? Even the father, kahit na siya may right to impugn the legitimacy of the child, meron din pong prescriptive period yung pagpa-file niya. Sabihin natin, talagang yung bata black o talagang yung bata Caucasian, Pilipino sila pareho. Despite that po, meron lang pong panahon para mag-file yung tatay ng petition. Sabihin natin, nakatira siya kung saan pinanganak yung bata. Nakatira sila sa kung saan pinanganak yung bata. Kung pinanganak sila, kung sila nakatira sa Manila din pinanganak yung bata. Kung sa Makati pinanganak, sa Makati rin pinanganak yung bata sa Makati Med o ganun, something like that. O sa pag sa BGC sa St. Luke's, you get the point, no? O ngayon, ah yung tatay, si husband, 1 taon lang po ang period niya para i-file yung action. Pag po lumagpas na 5 taon na, hindi na siya pwedeng mag-file pa ng petition kasi madidismiss yan outright for being prescribed. Okay? So sabihin natin, ito senaryo, 'di ba? Sabi naman po dito sa article, pwedeng ipasa sa anak, sa mga heirs, sa asawa, yung action to impugn legitimacy. Pwedeng ipasa, 'di ba? Pag namatay na yung tatay. O sabihin natin, pinanganak yung bata 2020, Caucasian. O. Tapos 2025, namatay yung tatay. Hindi po nag-file ng action ever yung tatay. 2020, 2025. Sabihin natin, namatay yung tatay. Okay. Ngayon, pwede pa po bang mag-file ng action yung mother? Kasi tama nga naman, air yung mother, di ba? Pwede pa ba siya mag-file? How about yung ibang mga anak ni father, ni husband? Pwede pa bang mag-file? Hindi na po. Kasi prescribed na. Prescribed na. Okay? Tapos na 5 taon na doon sa tatay, hindi niya finale ng petition eh. So kung isipin nyo, yes, napapasa nga po yung right to file the action doon sa mga anak, sa asawa. However, kung natulog yung tatay dyan, hindi nag-file ng action, wala na kasi silang right to file. So suma total po, conclusive na legitimate child yung bata. Sana po naiintindihan natin. Legitimate child na talaga, wala nang makakabawi doon. Okay? So yan pong importance niyang 1 year, 2 years, 3 years na yan. Okay. May isa pa akong gusto i-tackle dito. Ito. Do these principles apply if the birth certificate of the child was simulated? So ulitin, ano po ba ang context nitong article 167 na to, yung mga declare it's against his legitimacy? Ano po ba context niyan? Ang context po nito, talagang yung bata nanggaling kay wife. Ulitin ko. Ang context po ng article 167 and the other articles dito like 165. Ang context po nito, pinanganak talaga yung bata ni wife. O pinanganak talaga yung bata nung magulang na yun, no, na may problem ngayon. Okay. Pag sinabi mo kasing simulated, hindi talaga nanggaling doon sa nanay yung bata. Okay? Wala talagang pinagbuntis, walang ipinanganak yung nanay. So simulated yung childbirth. So ano po ang nangyari sa simulation of childbirth? Binypass po nila yung Adoption Act natin, yung Administrative Adoption Act. Binypass nila. Instead na mag-adopt sila ng legal ng bata, nakakita sila ng bata, ang ginawa nila, may kakilala siguro sa kung saan man, no? Naiparehistro nila na anak nila yung bata. So alam niyo na 'yun, no? Yung birth cert niya talagang nagre-reflect ang tata yung husband, ang wife yung mother. O ayan, yung mother yung wife. Pero wala talagang anakang nangyari. Yung po simulation. Okay? Ulitin ko, yung 165, 167 na yan, nagkaroon talaga ng anakang nangyari. It's just that, hindi natin alam kung sino nakabuntis. Okay, yun po ang context nito, no? So, no, these principles do not apply in case of simulated childbirth. Okay? Ito po ang kaso Geronimo versus Santos, no? As a rule, only the husband can contest the legitimacy of a child born to his wife. Tandaan nyo ha, born to his wife. May pinanganak talaga yung kanyang asawa. He's the one directly confronted with the scandal and ridicule, no, of the infidelity of his wife. And he should be the one to decide whether to conceal that infidelity or to expose it. No? It is only in exceptional cases that his heirs are allowed to contest such legitimacy. Halimbawa, namatay yung tatay, hindi nakapag-file ng action. Di ba? Yun yung tinakal natin dito. 171. Okay. Outside of these cases, none, even his heirs, can impugn the legitimacy. That would amount to an insult to his memory. However, tandaan nyo, this procedural rule yung napapasa sa heirs, yung right to file the action, this procedural rule is applicable only to actions where the legitimacy or the illegitimacy of the child is the issue. It does not apply if the petitioner alleges that the supposed child was not the child of the spouses at all. In other words, pag simulated yung childbirth. If simulated po ang childbirth, hindi po mag-a-apply yung period na yan, yung 1 year, 2 years, 3 years na period na yan. And in this case, ayan, the petitioner can impugn the filiation of the supposed child even after the death of the supposed father. Kahit na 5 taon ang patay. And the petitioner can present secondary evidence to prove that the supposed child was the real child of the spouses. Kasi nga, hindi po ito yung sinasabi ng 165, 167, 170, 171. Hindi po ito. Kasi ang context po ng 165 and so on, born to his wife. Ito born to someone else eh. 'Di ba? Ibang-iba talaga, no? So, yan po, tandaan niyo yung kaso na to, very important. Especially ang yung simulation of childbirth, yung rectification, yung article RA 11222 if I remember correctly, kung tama ako do sa numbering, no. This law, simulation of childbirth ang ina-address niyan. So baka di natin alam, baka matanong sa inyo to, no. Tandaan niyo to ha. It does not apply if the supposed child was not the child of the spouses at all. It only applies if talagang anak naman siya ng babae, ni wife, hindi lang natin alam kung legitimate o illegitimate. Okay? I hope we get the point there. Okay, so other grounds po to impugn the legitimacy. Ito po, hindi siya masyadong important compared do sa mga tinakil natin previously. Mga tinakil natin previously, very important. Kasi po itong grounds to impugn legitimacy, tandaan nyo, ang totoo namang ground nowadays, especially kung kayang tustusan ng tatay yung kaso, DNA. DNA lang sagot talaga. Physical impossibility, mga yan. Pati itong artificial insemination, the authorization is obtained through violence, intimidation, mistake, fraud, undue influence. Yung mga yan po, hindi siya ganun ka-persuasive compared sa DNA. O sabihin natin, physically impossible. Talagang OFW ka, magpa-DNA ka pa. Tapos ang usapan kung di mo talaga anak yan. Di ba? So hindi siya ganun ka-important as compared dun sa mga rules na tinakil natin earlier. No, ano yung rule na yun? Kahit saan pa, kahit ano pa, itsura ng bata, paano nagawa yung bata, kapag kasal, si husband and si wife, legitimate yung bata. It's only the husband's right to file the action to impugn the legitimacy. But if he does not file that action, that child will be legitimate. That child is legitimate. Okay? Sana po malinaw. No? Okay na tayo sa grounds to prove non-filiation. Okay na to. Later on na lang sa illegitimate child. So, hindi naman kayo dyan tatanungin normally. Sa legitimate child talaga ang issue sa inyo pag tinanong kayo sa bar. No? Okay. So, biological or scientific reasons except artificial insemination. So, ano yung biological, scientific? E di scientific is DNA. Biological, kasali na dyan. O ano pa? Blood type. No? Hindi, yung pag pinagkumpara mo yung blood type ng tatay at sa kay nanay, never na magiging blood type yung blood type ng anak. Biological, scientific reasons. Yung itsura ng anak. Biological, scientific reasons. No? Okay. Ito bang physical impossibility? Pakibasa na lang yan. No? Again, ulitin ko, this is just a ground to impugn the legitimacy. No? Ah, kung titingnan natin sa court, ito lang po ano lang to, ito yung mga tools, no? Means, evidence na pwedeng i-present ng tatay na hindi ko anak yan. Okay. Yun. So, ayan. Physical incapacity of the husband to have sex with his wife, impotent, living separately, sex is impossible, OFW, di naman sila nagkikita, talaga. Serious illness, so impotency din. Okay? Pero pag back and forth din yung ano, OFW, pero balik-balik din naman ng Philippines sometimes, no? Every 1 year, bumabalik ng Philippines. Hindi siya physically impossible. Okay. This list is exclusive in nature. Because Article 166 provides that the ano ba? The legitimate status of a child may be impugned only on the following grounds. Kaya lang, napaka-powerful nga kasi ng biological scientific. At di dyan papasok yung DNA, di ba? Kaya kahit na exclusive po yung listahan, hindi mo na kailangan mag-present ng evidence outside of these three. Di ba? Okay. In 300-day rule, okay. Hindi naman to tinatanong normally sa bar yung ano, yung para pag may subsequent marriage tapos pinanganak after the dissolution of the first one and during the subsistence of the second one, no? Di siya masyadong tinatanong sa bar kasi it's too complicated, no? Anyway, ginawa ko naman ng discussion dito. So I suggest pakibasa yung ano ko, yung mga examples ko here. Masyado na siyang I don't want to dilute yung discussion natin previously kasi mas important yun. Pero hindi ko naman nineglect, no? Nilagay ko rin naman talaga dito yung discussion for these topics sa 300-day rule, no? Again, this is just a matter of evidence. Yung 300-day rule na yan, no? DNA pa din ang makakapagpasagot talaga, no? So yun, no? So uh ayan, ito yun. Ito yung mahirap eh. Yung, is there any presumption as to who is the father if the mother contracts a subsequent marriage within 300 days from the termination of the previous marriage? No? So yes, these rules shall govern the affiliation of the child in the absence of proof to the contrary. Ano ba yung proof to the contrary na example? DNA nga, di ba? Pag may DNA, yun na talaga yun. Okay? Kasi paano kung di ba, dalawa yung marriage. May previous marriage, may new marriage. Eh baka nung new marriage, bumabalik pa rin yung nanay dun sa dating marriage. Nakikipag sexual intercourse pa rin sa first husband. Di ba? So may proof to the contrary pa rin na maipipresent. Di ba? Despite yung mga days na yan, no? So the child is conceived. Itakal ko na nga ito. Itong sa taas natin, okay na yan. Ito itatakal ko, sige. The child is conceived during the subsequent marriage. Kailan po mangyayari to? Ano na to, itong rule na to. So basically, tatay niya yung second husband, no? If the second marriage is contracted after 300 days from termination of the prior marriage. So after 300 days, ang magiging tatay na talaga ng bata, ang presumption, yung pangalawang asawa na. Why? Kasi masyado nang malayo. 300 days, the more than after. So lagpas 10 months na. So hindi pwede na parang sa presumption na to, malabo na produkto pa yung bata nung sexual intercourse nung unang tatay. Kasi more than 300 days na eh. Nag-terminate yung prior marriage. Eh di ang presumption nun, pag nag-terminate yung marriage na yun, hindi na sila nagse-sex talaga. So after 10 months, paano magiging anak siya nung unang asawa, di ba? So sana intindihin nyo ng ganun ka-basic. Okay? Di ba? So it doesn't matter if the child was born before or after. 100 days after contracting the second marriage, it doesn't matter. Before 180 days, sabihin natin, ah pinanganak siya 90 days into the marriage, second marriage. Anak pa rin siya nung second husband, hindi nung first husband. Kasi nga, that second marriage was contracted after 300 days. So, ang presumption po dyan, nung magjowa pa lang, yung second husband at saka yung mother, nagawa na nila yung bata. Tapos, pinanganak yung bata 90 days in the second marriage. Di ba? Parang ako talaga, I hate this eh. Masyadong confusing, no? Pero I'm trying to discuss this to you, no? The child is conceived during the previous marriage, nung unang kasal, no? First husband. If the subsequent marriage is contracted within 300 days from the termination of the prior marriage and the child is born before 180 days after contracting the subsequent marriage. Tapos last, child conceived during the subsequent marriage within 300 days, born after 180 days after contracting the subsequent marriage. Try ko nga na to. I-draw. Okay, bago tayo sabi ko, di ko nitatakil, pero sige. Okay. Try lang try lang, no? Unang senaryo. Ay. Ito, dissolution of first marriage. Ito, subsequent marriage. No? Dissolution nung first marriage. Ay, first, dissolution nung first marriage. Ito, contract imperfection. Perfection. Celebration nung second marriage. Okay. Pag more than 300 days yan, ang pagitan, ito ang tatay. Kasi masyado na malaki gap. No, hindi talaga siya magiging produkto nung unang kasalan kahit nag-sex sila nung last day bago ma-dissolve yung marriage nung first one. Dito pa din kasi masyadong malaki yung gap. Okay, so madali lang yan. No? Hindi ako nahirapan. Next. Ito dapat sa kaso na to, sa instance na to, dapat anak siya nung unang asawa. Within 300. Ay, dapat pala tatlo. Masyado mahaba yung line. Yan. Within 300. Okay, so ito yung dissolution ng first one. Ito yung ah contract nung second one. Tapos, the child was born before 180 days. So, within, basically. Di pala within, before. Kasi pag sinabi mong within, kasali 180th day. Pag sinabi mong before, 179 pababa. So, before 180. Diba? So, in other words, 179 and below. Dito po pinanganak yung bata. Diba? Ang suma total po nito, the father is the first husband. Tama ba tayo ng intindi? Yes, the child is conceived during the previous marriage if the subsequent marriage is contracted within the 300 days from the termination of the prior marriage and the child is born before 180 days after contracting the subsequent marriage. Ito. So 180, dito pinanganak yung bata, within 300 days at saka nagkaroon ng dissolution saka yung contracting ng second marriage. Okay. Tapos last one, diba? Ganun ulit. Ito after. Ito pala. 180 and above. Within 300. Dissolution ng first. Contracting nung second. Okay. Pinanganak yung bata, child was born. Mali. Dito tayo, second marriage. Okay, second marriage. Second husband. Na-illustrate na natin. No? Nagamit ko ulit yung whiteboard. This time. Okay, so let's go back to our word. In the absence of proof to the contrary. So, paano kung may DNA? O, doon ang proof to the contrary. So, how do we make this easy? Determine if the subsequent marriage follow the two-tiered test. Determine if the subsequent marriage was contracted within 300 days from the termination of the previous month, from the previous one. If without, the second husband is the father. If within, then we proceed to the next test. What's the next step? Test. Determine if the child was born before or after 180 days after the celebration of the subsequent marriage. If before, the first husband is the father. If after, the second husband is the father. So, two-tiered test, basically. Yung unang test, pag dito sumablay na agad, second husband. pinanganak yung bata after 300 days from the termination of the previous one. O, yung second husband ang tatay. You get the point. Okay? Ayun. Filiation naman po tayo. So, sa filiation, ang important talaga dito, yung filiation ng illegitimate child. Kasi, ba't mo naman kailangan patunayan yung filiation ng legitimate child? Bakit? Di ba? Nakalagay na nga po sa Article 16 sa tinakil natin kanina, children conceived or born out, children conceived or born during the marriage shall be considered legitimate. Why do you need to establish the legitimacy of the child pa? Automatic yan. Ano man ang itsura ng bata na yan, pag mag-asawa kayo, nagkaroon ng anak yung wife, matik yan, legitimate yung bata. Di ba? So, ito po talaga yung filiation. Saan ang usual na topic nito? Filiation of illegitimate child. Sinasabi ng illegitimate child, anak niyo po ako. Paano kung patutunayan na anak niyo po ako? O yan, Article 175. Nakalagay po dyan, illegitimate children may establish their illegitimate filiation in the same way and on the same evidence as legitimate children. So ano po yung in the same way and on the same evidence? Same way, ano yung action na ipapile mo? The action for recognition of illegitimate filiation. Okay. Yun yung same way. Ano yung same evidence? Di itong lima na to. Primary evidence at secondary evidence. No? Pwede pong, as a general rule, pwedeng i-avail lahat ng illegitimate child, lahat ng pieces of evidence na to. So, pwedeng record of birth, nakapirma yung illegitimate father doon. Di anak niya yan. Di ba? Illegitimate child niya yan. Admission ng tatay sa public document. Pinanotaryo yung acknowledgement. No? Pinanotaryo yung acknowledgement ng anak niya. Ayan. Private handwritten instrument and signed by the father. Nakalagay sa notebook. Anak ko, si Juan de la Cruz. Pirma ng tatay. Lahat, no? Fully handwritten yan. Okay. Secondary evidence, open and continuous possession and any other means allowed by law and the rules of court. Ano po example nitong number 2? DNA evidence ulit. Okay, ulitin natin yung paternity, saan po manggagaling yung action to impugn the legitimacy of the child? Sa tatay. Ito pong action for recognition of illegitimate filiation, saan po manggagaling yung action? Sa bata. Okay, so yan po. Kaya maganda siyang ipag-divide, no? Ibang paksyon yung sa tatay, iba yung paksyon dun sa anak. Sa tatay, kung husband yan, ang presumption, legitimate. Magpa-file siya ng petition para hindi maging anak at all. Okay? Kasi sa iba pala ang tatay. Itong filiation, manggagaling yung kaso sa anak. Kasi hindi ina-acknowledge ng tatay, pero gusto nung illegitimate child, i-acknowledge siya ng tatay niya. Ayan. So, with that being said, in the same way, ulit natin, action for recognition, tapos same evidence yung 5. Okay? General rule, yung illegitimate child, pwede niyang gamitin lahat ng 5 evidence na to. May exception po. Ano po yung exception? Kapag po gustong i-prove yung filiation ng illegitimate child after the death of the father, supposed father. No? So pag buhay pa yung tatay, no? Pag buhay pa yung tatay, all 5 can be presented in court by the petitioner nung supposed illegitimate child. All 5 can be presented. No? Pero kapag nag-file po ng kaso, no? At ah patay na yung tatay nung nag-file ng kaso, hindi na po available yung last 2. Napaka-important po niyan. Bakit? Ganito po implication niyan. Sabihin natin, una, buhay yung tatay. No? Nag-file ng kaso yung bata. Pwede ba sila magpa-DNA para malaman kung anak niya o hindi? Yes. Pwede po. Kasi nakalagay, any other means allowed by law and the rules of court. DNA evidence. Okay. Paano kung nag-file ng kaso after mamatay ng tatay? Pwede mo natin ipahukay yung bangkay ng tatay, kunin yung DNA nun, tapos i-match do sa DNA ng supposed illegitimate child. The answer is no. Kung gusto mong patunayan na anak ka nung namatay, dapat ang basis mo yung 1, 2, 3, yung primary evidence. Pumirma sa birth cert mo, may admission yung tatay in a public document or private handwritten instrument yan. And signed by the father. Oh, ayan yung kasi. However, when the action is based on the second paragraph of Article 172, meaning yung secondary evidence, the action may be brought during the lifetime of the alleged parent. Wala pong problema rito sa nanay kasi alam naman natin kung sino yung nanay at siya yung nag-anak sa bata. Ang problem lagi yung tatay. Okay? So, pwede lang po niyang i-bring yung action uh, based sa secondary evidence hanggat buhay pa yung tatay. So, pag patay na yung tatay, hindi na siya pwede mag-present ng DNA evidence to prove na anak siya nung namatay. Wala na. Kung wala ka nitong primary evidence, hindi mo napatunayan na matay na yung tatay, supposedly, yung alleged father, wala na. You will forever be strangers. Kahit na magkamukha kayo. Okay? Yun po ang pinaka-important dyan. Eto. Yung any other means na yan. Ulitin ko, pag illegitimate child, pwedeng i-present yung any other means na yan pag buhay yung tatay. Pag patay na, hindi na. Inadmissible in evidence. Why? Because if the action is based on the second paragraph of Article 172, meaning this one, the action can only be brought during the lifetime of the father. So after his death, this cannot be brought up anymore. Petition for recognition, pwedeng petition to claim illegitimacy, pwede rin yung ganung petition pala. Petition for recognition of illegitimate filiation, pwede rin yun. Ito natakal ko na. No? For a petition to claim illegitimacy, the death of the father is important. No? Buhay pa, primary or secondary pwede. Pag patay na, primary lang. Examples of secondary evidence, ayan, DNA evidence. Nasabi ko na rin dito yung example, no? Okay. Ito. Sinasabi ko kanina, natakal ko na rin. Pero sa isip ko din. Action to claim illegitimacy or legitimacy that is filed by the child. Article 173, 175 yan. No? So, who can file this action? Only the child. Action to impugn the legitimacy, it is filed by the father. Okay? It's filed by the father. Kasi nga the law presumes that the petitioner is the father of the child, legitimate kung husband. No? Thus, the father will file the action to prove that he is not the father. Okay? So, yan. Claim illegitimacy, impugn legitimacy. Yung isa claim, anak mo ko, isa, hindi kita anak. Okay? Pero ang approach po dun sa claim, illegitimate yung bata. Dun sa, ito yung focus nyo dapat. Sa isa naman, i-impugn mo na legitimate. Hindi ko talaga anak yan kahit mag-asawa tayo. Anyway, nakailang ulit na ako, you get the point na. No? What happens if the action was filed by a person other than the one required under the family code? Yung action to impugn legitimacy muna tayo. The action shall be dismissed. Di ba? Kasi heirs, exceptional cases lang. Di ba? Paano ka makakapag-file? Namatay yung tatay, tapos yung prescriptive period hindi pa nag-expire. Ang hirap mangyari yun. Saka pwede mag-file yung heir, including the mother, including the wife. Pero pag wala talaga, either buhay pa yung tatay or naubos na yung prescriptive period, expired na, hindi na pwede mag-file yung mga heirs. If the action to claim legitimacy or illegitimacy was filed by a person other than the child, the action shall be dismissed. Dapat yung child lang din na mag-file. Okay. Kasi nga, siya lang yung, kung pumunta tayo sa remedial law, siya yung, tawag ito, real party in interest. Yun. Nawala na sa loob. Civil procedure. Ayun. Okay? Okay na yan. Ito pala. Sa use of surname, natakil na natin, no? So, ang illegitimate child may use the surname, no? If filiation is expressly recognized by him. Kahit na, pag hindi na-recognize ng tatay, aba, walang karapatan yung illegitimate child na gamitin yung apelyido ng tatay. Di ba? E paano kung ano, inacknowledge siya as a public instrument? May. So, discretion pa din. Kung gusto niya tanggalin, pwede tanggalin. Okay? Yeah. If she did not sign the same. Okay, we're done there. We're done dito sa affiliation. Legitimated children na tayo. Ano pa yung mga requisites for legitimation, no? So the child must be conceived and born out of wedlock. Ibig sabihin, yung kanyang mga magulang, ah, hindi kinasal. Whether nung nag-conceive, nung hindi kasal, whether nung ginawa siya, o nung pinanganak siya, hindi sila kasal. Tapos, yung parents at the time of the conception, hindi po disqualified to marry each other or only disqualification nila is they are underage. Sabihin natin, anong tawag dito? Anak sa pagkadalaga at pagkabinata, parehong 16 years old yung magulang. O, so, syempre, walang valid marriage yan, di ba? So, tapos later on, nung naging 18 na sila, nagpakasal. So, valid yung marriage, di ba? What will be the status of the child? Legitimated. Okay, legitimated. Kasi pasok no? Conceived and born out of wedlock kasi di naman kinasal yung tatay at nanay nila kasi binata at dalaga. Tapos nung siya ay ginawa, nung siya ay binuo, hindi po disqualified po yung mga magulang niya na magpakasal dahil lang below 18 years of age sila. Okay? And then legitimation will take place if itong magulang niya na binata at dalaga pa no nagpakasal later on. The annulment of avoidable marriage shall not affect the legitimation. Malamang. Kasi nga, ulitin natin, avoidable marriage is a valid marriage that was annulled. Okay? Valid pa din. No? Example yun, di ba 16, nagpakasal nung 18, pero walang parental consent. Avoidable yung marriage nila, pero valid yun. Later on, napa-annul nung magulang. Nagpakasal nagpakasal, walang parental consent. Yung bata, legitimated. Okay? Di ba maganda? 16, nagkabuntisan. 18, 16, ang tawag dito? 16, nagkabuntisan. 18, nagpakasal, walang parental consent. 20 sila na paanal ng magulang nila yung kasal nila. Legitimate yung bata. Legitimated. Okay? Examples. Dito tayo sa examples, no? Mr. A and Miss B are married. Mr. A had sex with Miss C. Miss C was impregnated by Mr. A. She gave birth to a child. Later, Miss B died. O, nung namatay si B, nagpakasal na si A at saka si C. So, nagwagi yung kabit. Okay. Was the child legitimated by the marriage of Mr. A and Miss C? No. The child shall be considered illegitimate. Bakit? Kasi at the time of the conception, A was disqualified from marrying C since A was married to B. So kahit na later o nagpakasal po si A at saka si C, hindi po magiging legitimated yung bata. Kasi at the time of the conception, A was disqualified from marrying C. Next example. Basically, lalaroin nyo lang itong exceptions, itong requisites, no? Ano important na requisites dito? Yan, ito, important. Yan dalawa. Kasi yung conceived and born out of wedlock, napaka-obvious niyan. Okay, pag nung ginawa yung bata, kasal sila. O nung pinanganak yung bata, kasal sila. Eh, di legitimate yung bata. Kasi nga, conceived or born during the marriage of the parents, eh. Diba yung pinakal natin earlier? No? Eh, paano pag ang tanong is hindi? No? Titignan mo tong 2 at saka 3. Okay? Actually, pati yung fourth, hindi rin important. Kasi papakita, din naman sa hindi important, pero hindi ito yung magiging hindi dito lalabas yung tanong. Hindi ito itatakil yung tanong kasi ipapresent talaga ng tanong sa inyo na nagkaroon ng subsequent marriage. Hindi sila kasal before, nagkaroon ng subsequent marriage before. So, i-determine mo ngayon kung legitimate o hindi yung bata by checking the second and the third requisites. Nung bang ginawa yung bata, disqualified bang magpakasal ng isa't isa? yung magulang niya. Or, ang disqualification lang, below 18 sila. Paano kung disqualified kasi may prior subsisting marriage? O di, illegitimate yung bata, yun po ang context niyan. Okay? Mr. A had sex with Miss B. Miss B was impregnated by A. They were both minors at the time. Later, she gave birth to a child. 10 years after both of them reached the age of majority, Mr. A and Miss B married each other. Was the child legitimated by their marriage? Yes, kasi pasok po sa lahat ng requisites. Okay? The subsequent marriage must be valid kasi nakalagay po pala dito, subsequent valid marriage. No? They can never be under 18. They cannot be disqualified to marry each other. Formal requisites cannot be absent and other instances. No? So, legitimated children shall enjoy the same rights as legitimate children. Okay? And the effects of illegitimation shall retroact to the time of the child's birth. So, ang magiging understanding po natin dito, ang magiging effect nito, never naging illegitimate yung bata once na legitimated siya. Since nung siya ay pinanganak, legitimate na talaga siya. He should be considered as legitimate from the time he was born. He was never illegitimate. Okay? The legitimation of the children who died before the celebration of the marriage shall benefit their descendants. Ano po ibig sabihin nito? Ano context? E di sa wills and succession, no? So namatay yung sabihin natin 16 yung magulang niya ni AB, pinanganak nila si C. Nung ginawa nila si C, ah hindi sila nagpakasal. O live-in lang sila. 30 years nakalipas. Si C nagkaroon na ng sarili niyang anak, si D. Okay. Tapos si C namatay. Sabihin natin car accident. A year after the car accident happened, nagpakasal si A at saka si B. Oh. Siyempre si D, magkakaroon siya ng right of representation. Diba? Doon sa share ni C, kapag namatay na later on si A at saka si B, yung lolo't lola. At ano yung magiging share na i-represent niya? The share of a legitimated child. So same share as a legitimate child. Okay, so example ito, no? A had sex with Miss B. Miss B was impregnated by A. They were both minors at the time. On 2000, she gave birth to Mr. C. On 2019, Mr. C had his own child who is his sole heir. On 2020, Mr. C died. On 2021, A and B married each other. So napagtanto nila, naku, namatay yung anak natin, hindi tayo kinakasal. Magpakasal na tayo ngayon, sabi ni A at saka ni B. A and B married each other. On 2022, Miss B gave birth to Mr. D. On 2023, both Mr. A and Miss B died. At the time of A and B's deaths, they had two children. So, sino yung children nila? Si C, yung una nilang anak nung pagkadalaga, at saka yung pinanganak nila si D nung medyo may edad na sila. So, malaki age gap, di ba? Malaki age gap. Ilan ang age gap nila? 22 years. So, para medyo menopausal baby na yung pangalawa, si D. So, si C, pinanganak siya nung dalaga at binata, si A at saka si B. Si D, nung medyo may menopausal baby na. Malaki age gap. During that intervening period, maraming nangyari, di ba? Si C, nagkaroon na ng sariling anak, namatay si C, namatay din si A, tapos later on, namatay din si A at saka si B, after ipanganak si D. How much will Mr. C's child, or the apo, inherit from the estate of Miss A and Miss B? The child of Mr. B will inherit one half of the estate of A and B. Why? Mr. C predeceased A and B, so Mr. C's child will inherit his share by right of representation. Since his share is the one half of the estate, that same will be inherited by his son. O why will Mr. C inherit one half of his estate? Why not just one-fourth? Di ba? Because despite dying before A and B, Mr. C became legitimated when A and B married on 2022. The legitimation of children who died before the celebration of the marriage of their parents. O, di ba? So, na-legitimated po si C after niyang mamatay kasi nagpakasal yung kanyang mga magulang later on. And this will benefit his son, his only child. Okay? So, a legitimate child has the same rights as a legitimate child. Thus, Mr. C and Mr. D have the same rights to the estate. The legitimation of C will benefit his child. No? So Mr. C's child will inherit one half of the estate of A and B. Okay. So we're done there. Support na tayo next video.